Hello, and welcome back to another Living Life Ministries video blog. Today we're going to be talking about a phrase, and the phrase is give to Caesar what is Caesar's. If you've heard this phrase before, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a phrase that's kind of come into modern language probably for a long time. I'm not sure if it's as popular as it once was, but I definitely have known it in my life. And what it normally refers to is people referring to having to pay taxes or paying bills. And Caesar is normally like the government or the big corporation that we pay out money. And so what you're doing is you're giving them what's due to them. And it's kind of used in kind of, I guess, a negative kind of way, like they're the monkey on your back that's picking out of your pocket kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I grew up always hearing that phrase, and then when I got older and started reading the Bible, I realized, oh, it came from the Bible. And what it refers to is the story where the Pharisees are trying to entrap Jesus into, saying something that will get him in trouble. And they do this by asking, is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor? And the reason why this can kind of get him into trouble is because if he says it is, then he's kind of going against the Jewish people, because the Jewish people are kind of being occupied by the Roman Empire, and there's kind of like this tension, but at the same time, the group like the Pharisees of the Bible, and historically more generally the Sadducees, are kind of working alongside the Roman Empire for taxation purposes and following of Jewish law and Roman law on top of that. And so if he says, yeah, it's lawful to pay the taxes, he's kind of going against the Jewish people. And if he says it's not lawful to pay taxes, then he's going against the Roman government. So either way, it kind of entraps Jesus. And Jesus responds with the answer, give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and give to God the things that are God's. And that first half is what has kind of made it into our modern conversation. And so that's the part we know. The part we leave out is give to God the things that are God's. We've kind of forgotten that part. And when he says this, it kind of gets him off in the case. They're trying to, throw him against the Roman government by saying, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, or give to the emperor what is the emperor's. He's saying, pay your taxes. But when he says give to God's the things that are God's, he's saying, follow the righteous path of, this faith, and to them would have been the Jewish faith at the time, and do what's righteous for us at the time. So he's kind of separating them and saying they're two different things, and you can give to the Caesar what he needs, and you can give to God what he needs, and he kind of protects himself on both sides. And I've read tons of papers, and a lot of times they kind of focus on the first half of that, is give to Caesar's what is Caesar's. And people try to figure out what that means for a modern context. And a lot of times, half the papers will say, well, give to Caesar what is Caesar's is what Jesus is saying is, sometimes it's okay to live in society, you have to follow society's laws and rules and restrictions, because that's what we need to kind of do to survive, pay the government or pay the big businesses what you need to, and do your own thing on the side, kind of like also follow your religious stuff on the side. And other people have actually argued that give to Caesar's what is Caesar's is actually kind of Jesus saying up yours to the government institution. And whatever the case may be, I think that the point of this passage actually has been lost a little bit. Yes, give to Caesar's what is Caesar's, and whatever that happens may be. I think the more important part is give to God what belongs to God. And so what does that mean? What does it mean to give to God what is God's? Are they referring to creation? Can we really give back creation to God? God made creation for us and made it for him. Like, you can't really, there's not really an exchange there you can really do. You can't start throwing dirt up into the sky. It's just going to fall back down on you, right? So what is the currency then? If money, if coinage is the currency between, the emperor or the government or the big business and the people, what is the currency between God and us? Could it be something like love? Could it be faith, hope, grace, strength, willpower? All those positive things that we strive for. That's what I believe the currency is. The famous saying, God gave us faith, hope, and love. And when we strive to give that back, when we have faith in God, we love God, and we hope in God, what we're doing is we're giving an exchange. And so I think that's the kind of the sad part, is that we've forgotten that second half. But that first half has some validity too. Sometimes in life, that first point where, sometimes you kind of have to go with society. Now, if anybody who's ever been to university or college will understand this, to get an education, to have the right to learn and be able to use it in kind of a career capacity, you have to shell out a lot of money to the schools, and a lot of time you can't afford that, so you have to get a student loan from the bank or the government, and then you end up paying even more interest back to them. And so you end up paying Caesar what is Caesar's in that situation. You shell out all this money so that you can, grow as a person and better the world. So sometimes you have to do that. And sometimes the second point's right too. Society says that, all the time that you have to have lots of money, that you need to have a nice car, you need to be amazingly good looking, you need to, be rich and, follow all the latest trends. And sometimes, the second part where give to Caesar's what is Caesar's, as a kind of rebellious kind of up yours, is sometimes, maybe not an up yours, but but sometimes you have to rebel against the norm and say, what, Jesus, said give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but he also sat down and ate with the poor. He also he encouraged people to give all the money away to the poor. And so sometimes you have to say, no, you know what? I'm not going to give you that positive part of me and throw it away and trade it in for something that's materialistic and, monetary value and all those kind of things. And so with those two sides in mind, when you combine that, you really do focus on giving to God what is God. So though the first part has gained a lot of emphasis, yes, what does it mean? There is kind of a beauty in that, is that it kind of gives 2 points to saying, when you realize, sometimes, yes, you have to pay your dues to society, but also at other times you have to say, no, I'm going to hold on to my dignity, I'm going to hold on to my respect, I'm going to keep my faith, hope, and love intact. What you're really doing is saying, now I'm giving to God what is God's, and I'm going to give to society what belongs to society. And that brings that emphasis back to that second half, and that's the beauty. The currency between you and God is the valuable thing. So what Jesus is saying, by giving to God what is God's, and maintaining that currency between you and God, whatever society is going to take from you isn't going to hurt you. It's just whatever. You can give it away if you really want to. Just give it all away. But as long as you maintain that currency between you and God, then you're going to maintain that salvation. You're going to maintain that happiness. And the best thing about the currency between man and God, the best thing about spending and buying and trading and sharing the currency of faith, hope, and love, the more you give out, the more you're getting back. It's a true enterprise in business. It's the only business where you can spend frivolously. You can go down to the street and find someone who isn't ready to give it back to you, and you can give and give and give, and by a miraculous just glory, you're going to get that back. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. There's no end to that bank. There's no, max withdrawal, and there's no fees to going over with how much love, faith, hope, grace, strength, and all those positive attributes that we strive so hard to achieve. So when you're looking at this passage, I want you to say, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And, you know, sometimes that you may have to adapt what that means for you. Sometimes it may mean, yeah, you're going to pay your dues so you can get an education. You're going to pay your bills so you can have water and take care of your family or yourself. But sometimes you have to say, no, I'm going to give Caesar what he needs, and I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to follow the trends or do what everybody says I should. I'm going to do what's something that's morally right to me. And sometimes, and most of the time, you should be thinking about giving God what is God's, and sharing in that wonderful currency that you can have with God. And I guarantee you, when you make that separation between what you need to do to survive in this world and what you really need to do to live, what you really need to do to experience God in all His glory, that's what's really going to make the difference for you. So thank you for joining us today. I hope that helped a little bit. Check out my blog. I have a little bit more on this passage from Matthew 22, 15 to 22. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And so, yeah, leave a comment there. You can leave a comment below. I'll leave the link in the description section for this blog post on YouTube. And take care, and God bless.